Video tonight, now leading Gwinnett County Police to fire a second officer in a traffic stop. In the latest video, you can see the officer punch the driver whose hands are raised.
A second video surfaced yesterday showing another officer stomping on the driver's head. Now both officers are out of a job and potentially facing criminal charges. 11 Alive's Ron Jones is following the investigation tonight. Ron?
Yeah, and this video is shocking. They both happened in broad daylight as motorists were passing by. Now the chief says what was caught on cell phone video is not only disturbing, but very embarrassing.
Okay, take your phone out. It's out, it's out.
Two jaw-dropping cell phone videos showing the disturbing actions of two Gwinnett County police officers during a traffic stop.
Oh.
The first video, released on Wednesday, went viral on social media. It shows the handcuffed driver, identified as Demetrius Hollins, on the ground and in handcuffs, held down by one officer. And moments later, the second officer, identified as Robert McDonald, shows up to assist with the arrest. McDonald then runs up and stomps the helpless handcuffed Hollins in the head.
It disturbed me, and as it disturbed everyone who actually witnessed that video.
Within 24 hours of that video being released, Officer McDonald was fired. During a press conference, the chief calls McDonald's actions inexcusable.
What happened yesterday at the hands of one of my former officers was embarrassing, not only to the Gwinnett County Police Department, but to all law enforcement. We hold our officers accountable for their actions, and in less than 24 hours, the Gwinnett County Police Department held this officer accountable for his actions.
But just hours after today's press conference, this second cell phone video surfaces of that same controversial traffic stop. It shows veteran Sergeant Michael Bongiovanni pulling the driver out of the red car. And as the driver stands with his hands raised, a sign of surrender, the sergeant rears back and punches the driver whose hands remained raised.
I'm very upset, I'm mad, I'm sick that this second video showed up.
Police Chief Ayers says Sergeant Bongiovanni hid his actions from investigators.
I'm glad that the second video was forwarded to us. We've been able to move swiftly to terminate this supervisor who not only stepped outside of his training in state law, but he failed to tell us what happened in the incident report and the use of force reports.
And we should also point out, not only have these officers been fired, but the chief also tells 11 Alive News that they have launched a criminal investigation that will be sent to the DA's office for possible prosecution. Sheba?
All right, Ron, thank you. And our camera was there as Demetrius Hollins bonded out of jail today on traffic and possession of marijuana charges. He didn't say much as he left the jail with his attorneys, who said that he was okay but headed to the hospital to be checked out.
Police say they plan to take a look at Sergeant Michael Bongiovanni's personnel file tomorrow. But here's what we know about Master Police Officer Robert McDonald. He had been with the Gwinnett County Police Department since 2013. His personnel file includes 7 incidents, including 2 connected with Wednesday's traffic stop, and 3 use of force incidents, including on Wednesday. We tried to dig into the national numbers about police brutality, but we were unable to do so, and here's why. The FBI relies on police departments to voluntarily submit brutality statistics to them. We hooked up with the Cato Institute's Police Misconduct Department, which tracks all of these cases. And this map shows all the reported cases of misconduct that they found in the year 2015. It includes everything from shootings, assaults, and officer-involved DUIs. The Cato Institute said that they found at least 1,000 police officer shootings in America in just 2 years. The FBI now is working on a system to try and better track the use of force cases.
Fired Gwinnett Police Sergeant Michael Bongiovanni had long history of abuse and protection from other LEOs. The thin blue line is what cops will tell you they are. They say this because they feel they are the last line of defense between a chaotic society and a civilized one. Yet, anyone who's spent any amount of time studying the police realize that the thin blue line is nothing more than a brotherhood, a gang of sorts, that simply exists to protect from facing the same justice system they propel millions of others into. Take the example of Gwinnett County Police SGT Michael Bongiovanni, who was caught this week elbowing and kicking a man on video. From the blog post written and published here at COPBLOCK. Videos recorded by bystanders first show Sergeant Michael Bongiovanni pull Hollins out of a red car as he stands with his hands raised before the sergeant rears back and elbows him in the face. Footage then shows a handcuffed Hollins on the ground before Officer Robert McDonald is seen running up and stomping the defenseless man in the head. In a similar incident earlier this week, a Columbus, SC officer stomped a handcuffed man in the head, causing his face to collide with the pavement. Both officers in the Georgia incident have been fired as a result of their actions. Gwinnett County Police Chief LEOAFFAIRS said Sergeant Bongiovanni concealed his misconduct from investigators. The chief called the incident inexcusable. While it's a step in the right direction to hear the chief say such events are inexcusable, one has to wonder if those words are merely lip service. According to Slate.com, it seems Bongiovanni has used excessive force in the past. The only difference seems that this incident was caught on video and impossible to cover up. From Slate. Looking through those internal affairs investigations into Bongiovanni's alleged public misconduct, all of which ultimately exonerated him, as well as his use of force reports, makes for depressing and infuriating reading. In multiple of the use of force reports stretching back to 1999, Bongiovanni admitted to punching suspects in the head. Each event was considered lawful. The actual misconduct complaints are even more troubling. In 1999, a black man alleged that Bongiovanni said this to him when he asked for the officer's name during an incident: "Here is a card, you can report me, you dumb motherfucker, get your nigger ass out of here." The man's account of Bongiovanni's use of the slur was backed up by another witness. The man also said this in his official statement: "The police officer's job is to serve and protect." This officer was very rude, aggressive, boisterous, and did not have the right mind nor heart to be a police officer on the streets. Bongiovanni wrote it up differently. The complaint against Bongiovanni was not sustained. Earlier that same year, an unarmed Haitian man accused Bongiovanni of choking him and accused Bongiovanni's partner of choking the man's mom after they had entered a private residence. Multiple witnesses described in almost the exact same way how one of the men had begun to use a racial epithet before cutting himself off. "God is my witness, that man almost said nigger, I know he did," one witness said of the incident. "He said nig and stopped himself. He said, 'I'll take you in the house,' just like that." Another witness described things similarly. He said, "I'll arrest every nig," and he corrected himself, he was about to say nigger. Bongiovanni and his partner wrote it up differently. The allegations of the choking and the racial slurs were determined to be unfounded. In 2001, a Hispanic man who was never charged with a crime in the incident accused Bongiovanni of brutality after he had to go to the hospital. Bongiovanni wrote it up differently. The internal investigation found him to be exonerated. In 2002, a white woman who was in a car with her black boyfriend accused Bongiovanni of fondling her inner thigh with the inside of his hand during a stop frisk, pulling the elastic band on the back of her sweatpants, and breaking a purse during a search. "He didn't pull them far," she said. He pulled enough to where you could see the top, leg part of my underwear." Bongiovanni and his partner wrote it up differently. The internal investigation found him to be exonerated. In 2003, a black man accused Bongiovanni of striking him and choking him with a baton. Bongiovanni wrote it up differently. The internal investigation found the complaint was not sustained. In 2004, a black man who was eventually arrested on a drug charge claimed that he had his hands on the roof of his car when Bongiovanni punched him in the head and said, "Don't look at me, or I'll shoot you." Bongiovanni wrote it up differently. The internal investigation found him to be exonerated. In 2006, a black man who was being arrested claimed that Bongiovanni chokeslammed him on a car, punched him twice in the face, and elbowed him twice in the head. He also claimed that Bongiovanni said, "I'll fuck you up, nigger." Bongiovanni wrote it up differently. The internal investigation found him to be exonerated. This is why you must always film the police. Without clear video proof, or even audio, it is nearly impossible to have the word of a civilian override the words written in a report by a Leo. The Gwinnett County Police Department released files showing that Bongiovanni had at least 67 use of force incident reports, 12 citizen misconduct complaints, and 4 administrative conduct investigations in the nearly 20 years he was an officer. In all of those times, he was apparently sanctioned just once. And that one time wasn't even for an act of misconduct against the public. He was recommended for a demotion and ultimately a 15-day suspension in 2014 for the administrative crime of failure to supervise and lead those under his command. The only time Bongiovanni faced an actual punishment from the department is when he failed to brainwash others Leos into upholding the thin blue line. So while it's a good thing he's finally off the force, one cannot praise the actions of the higher-ups because it seems the buddy system is alive and well with the Gwinnett County. And before we can expect any real change, we need to address the real problem. That's cops refusing to out bad cops, as they did here for 20 years.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt-free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.